Yo, umada-in-law. Yes, umama husband wami watshela the whole community, told the whole society that Sihle unalived my son. She wiped him out of this earth. I'm pregnant, and as I walk out, mother-in-law, her sisters, and her mother, they come out at the gate. They say, Hamba, Hamba, hey, you must go, you've killed him. Hey, in the full view of the Sowetan citizens in Dobsonville. Yes. And when I arrived at the mother-in-law's house, already rumor had it. People were shocked to see me because they were like, how Sihle's arrested because Sihle, she unalived him. That's why you're not seeing her. Other people were like, yo, and the child that she's carrying is not his. Diary of a Grieving Mother. This podcast is inspired by the sudden premature death of my 10-year-old daughter, Kanyisile, who passed on from a ruptured brain aneurysm on the 11th of January 2024. But it's not only for grieving mothers. Are you a father? Are you a brother? Are you an uncle? Are you a sister? Are you a daughter who has lost someone or something valuable in your life and you want to come and talk to us about it? Let us hold your hand through this journey called grief. Phone us, email us, let's have a chat as we navigate through the journey of grief. This is Diary of a Grieving Mother. Welcome to yet another episode of Diary of a Grieving Mother. As I've always said, this podcast is inspired by the sudden premature passing of my 10-year-old daughter who passed away in 2024 from a ruptured brain aneurysm. Is it just a safe space to come and talk about losing a child? No, it's a safe space to come and talk about your grief, whether it's financial grief, relationship grief, whatever the case it may be. Today, I'm just here to vent. So far, I've been actually watching the episodes that have been recorded already on the podcast. And I think we're already sitting on episode 16, if I'm not mistaken. And when I watch all the episodes from episode 1 to episode 16, one common denominator is that everyone is going through grief. Most of the women are grieving their children. People that are on this podcast. Some are grieving their mothers. Then we had a brave young woman, Cheryl Zondi, who came and spoke about her grief of how that fake pastor, Omotoso, violated her youth. Then we had a young, brave man, he calls himself Cavestone, who spoke about his journey of how he grew up because he's got a facial dysphoria and the bullying and the unkindness he experienced from people. Right, and then we also had an episode, two episodes, one where it was recorded 2 years ago, exactly 1 month after my late daughter passed on. And then we had an episode where I was speaking to one of my therapists and one friend about who killed or what was the cause of my daughter's death. Today, I'm here to vent. Today, I'm just here to vent. I had to cancel the man that wanted to be on the podcast. I'm here to vent. What am I venting about? Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, boom, right? So, exactly 17 years ago, exactly 17 years ago, this girl that you're watching, I was pregnant. Yeah, I was pregnant with my handsome boy, right? And exactly 17 years ago, my handsome boy's father passed on. So my handsome boy, my son, his name is Mkanyisi, meaning light, let there be light. He doesn't know his biological father in the physical. Like he's never met his father because when the father passed on, I was pregnant with Umkanisi. Now I'm venting. I must give you a background story so you understand why I'm venting. So I'm pregnant. Mkanyisi's father passes on. And when the father passes on, yo, umada-in-law. Yes. Umama, the husband, wami, watshela the whole community, told the whole society that Sihle unalived my son. She wiped him out of this earth. Mamela, she told anybody or anything that cared to listen to say, this girl unalived her son. At that time, I'm highly pregnant. I remember how I got news that my son's father passed on. I was at home sleeping because in the Zulu culture, if you're going to have your first child, you would get your child at home. I was at home sleeping and I got a call, and mother-in-law's mother said to me on the phone, that means you have slaughtered your cow, eat it. I didn't know what she was talking about, but I ran to the elders, said this is what's happening. The next thing I knew, my son's father's best friend calls me and says, yo, Sihle, condolences. I'm like, condolences for what? And it's like, yo, Utepa has passed on. I'm like, what? I was just with him yesterday. Yesterday was Sunday. How come? Ganjani, what are you talking about? Like, what are you telling me? No, Tepan has passed on. I'm like, Aibo, this guy was here. He gave me the medical aid. He gave me the marriage certificate. He gave me, like, what are you talking about? He says that. So when I find out, I then tell the elders and they're like, hey, jump, Dombazane, get into the car, let's go. So get into the car, we go. And at that moment, we go to mother-in-law's house because the friend on the phone said to me, everyone's there. Yeah, when I got to mother-in-law's house, ngihamba with the elders, meaning my grandmothers, my aunts, etc., etc. When I got to mother-in-law's house, imagine me pregnant. Ne? This is November 2009. I'm pregnant, and as I walk out, mother-in-law, her sisters, and her mother, they come out at the gate. They say, Hamba, Hamba, hey, you must go, you've killed him. Hey, in the full view of the Sowetan citizens in Dobsonville. Yes. I was like, what? Hi, guys. And I get back in the car with the elders, and I'm like, okay. Ganti, mother-in-law did not want me to know that my son's father had passed on. Why do I say this? My son's father's friend, the one that called me to say, Sihle, condolences, he was heavily rebuked by your mother-in-law to say, because she wanted to find out, how did I find out that her son has passed on? And I'm like, Aibo, Ganjan, I was told by a friend. So a friend phones me and says, yo, bayangixosha lapha kabo Tshepo abangikhulumisi bathi ngikutsheleleni. Oibo, ungitsheleni kanjani? No, apparently I wasn't supposed to know. They wanted to have the funeral silently away from me. Uputepo, nobody wants to tell me where his body is. I did not know where Tepo's body was the whole week. Then the attorneys assisted me. They wrote a letter to the mother of Tepo to say, hi, we have gotten wind that Tepo, who is the husband of Sihle and who is the father to the child in her womb, has passed on. And Usihle has told us that you have chased her out of the house with her family. According to the law, that cannot happen. And you guys must get along for the sake of the burial. Guys, mother-in-law responds and says, hi, I do not know Usihle Sbisi. I am not aware that she's even pregnant. And if she claims that my son is the father to her child or is a husband, then she should know where his body is. Are you hearing? Are you listening? Like, are you listening to me? Right. Hey! So now, I've heard through the grapevine, these people want to bury on the Friday, right? They want to bury when? Friday. This letter went out to them when? Wednesday, right? So Wednesday night they responded, and then Thursday morning, our lawyers say, okay, fine, thank you for your response. Since you responded like that, Tina, legally, the body, the corpse, Tepo belongs to Sihle. So we are aware that the funeral is the next day. On Friday, we'll come and collect the corpse and we'll leave you with your expenses. Now, the sheriff was paid to go and deliver at the house. Guess what? Did my cell phone not ring? Did my cell phone not ring? My cell phone started ringing. Like these people, all of a sudden, the amnesia left them. They remembered that there's a Sihle CBC. Oh, Sihle unjani. Oh, mtanami. Oh, it's not me. Oh, mtanami ngicela uze. Come to Dobsonville. Let's have a meeting. Let's talk. This is Thursday night, like the eve of the funeral. And Mina I had already told myself, but okay, fine. Funeral day, the lawyer said, sheriff will be accompanied with people to go and collect the body and we leave them the expenses. They're like, please come, please come. So the elders say to me, Sihle, let's go. This is Thursday night now. So we get to the house. And when we get to the house, we go into the bedroom. We sit and yapretendelwana. So the bottom line of it all, I was like, look, at the end of the day, I know the funeral's tomorrow. And continue with the funeral, no problem. I won't stop it. All I want to be at the funeral. No problem. And then they're like, no, you can sleep over. I'm like, no, thank you. It's not going to happen. I left with the elders. Friday morning, I arrived at the mother-in-law's house. And when I arrived at the mother-in-law's house, already rumor had it. People were shocked to see me because they were like, how Sihle's arrested because Sihle, she unalived him. That's why you're not seeing her. Other people were like, yo, and the child that she's carrying is not his. Mamela, the stories were just on another level, like on blast. So I think one thing about me is that the power I carry is that I own my narrative, I own my story. So whatever people say about me, Mamela Mdagatedi, ask me, I'll tell you. Anyways, then the funeral happens, and when the funeral happens, oh yeah, wait. Then while we're at his mom's house, the body comes, and I'm like, I want to see him because one, I didn't get my closure. The last time I saw him, he was alive. I didn't get my closure to actually see him deceased. I didn't get that closure. How? Then they're like, yeah, okay, fine, you can see him. But as I look, they're like, okay, fine. It was a split second and they closed. I'm like, how? And they're like, no, you're pregnant, you can't see him that long. And I'm like, oh, whatever. So we leave the house and funeral service happens. I remember this so vividly. Speaker after speaker. She killed him. Or she unalived him. Umbulele. Speaker after speaker. You understand? I'm sitting in the front row. I'm highly pregnant. My stomach is just kicking. Not my stomach. My baby in my stomach is kicking. The only person that spoke sense at that funeral was the pastor, that Catholic priest. I'll never forget him. He turned and he said to me, condolences to you. You're very young and I feel so sorry for you. He gave me words of wisdom, like he comforted me more than anything. My mother-in-law was the chief mourner. I was in a polygamous relationship with her and Tepo. Yeah, maybe the problem is that it was a battle of powers because so I don't understand, Gucci. How do you battle with that? But anyways, funeral happens, funeral is finished. I'm highly pregnant. Right, funeral is over. I'm highly pregnant, it's November, right? So my child's due date was supposed to be, is it February, I think? February. Right, December goes through, and already I've been blacklisted everywhere. People are saying, Mamela, there's nothing negative on the face of the sun that people have not said. And they're saying, okay, fine. January comes, I'm about like literally lost my mind because now I've lost a husband and they say I've killed him and people have just left my life and Mamela, all hell broke loose. So I remember I went for a gynae checkup at Park Lane Hospital with Dr. Mnisi, a gynae, very matured woman. And she says to me, Aibo, it's silent here. When was the last time you felt this child kick? And I'm like, I don't know. So she puts belts, everything, and she's like, hey, immediate emergency Caesar. So basically what had happened to me, I had had a total complete shutdown where my emotions and my mind was completely detached from me, from itself and reality. So I remember I went into the ward. They had to have an emergency Caesar for me. I'm just cutting out a lot of things because I'm venting, right? So I had an emergency Caesar, and baby was born. Baby stayed in ICU. They call it NNU for about 11 days because baby was born blue. And basically that's because baby was now no longer really playing, moving in my belly, and I wasn't even aware. And then baby, after that, was an NNU. Then from NNU, baby's got jaundice. It was a lot. Bottom line, okay, bottom line, baby is born, and then I get discharged. Baby must stay in hospital. I'm chopping out a lot of things because guningi. So baby stays in hospital. I'm discharged, but I go there daily to see baby. Baby's finally out of hospital. I stay with baby. I think when baby turned 3 months, I asked an aunt of mine to say, because now I was like, listen, at the end of the day, I know the noises are out there. People are saying whatever. Accompany me to this mother, to Tepo's mother, so that she can see the child. Because she's been telling everyone that that's not her son's child, wada, 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 wada. I remember we drove to Dobsonville with my aunt, with my son, and we got there and she saw the child. She even named my son. She named him Bukule. Yeah. And then she was excited, happy, whatever. And then we left. Bafethu kanti angibuzanga elangeni. I didn't ask from the son. I think a few weeks later, she demanded DNA tests because that's not Tepo's child. Oh, DNA tests, yeah. Because, guys, as in, God knows. Long story cut short, I'm told I'm told now by his workplace that there's a dispute. Mother-in-law wants the provident fund things. You're not the wife, and the child is not his. It was just a mess. So I'm like, hey guys, you know what? It's grand. Let everything be. Bottom line, DNA tests are done. And I remember when we did the DNA tests, we drove to Lancet Laboratories in Auckland Park. Auckland Park, we get to Lancet Laboratories, and at that time, my son is crawling. And that's when I came into contact or officially started speaking to my father-in-law. Now, remember, my father-in-law never married or mother-in-law. They never got married. They just had a child. She went on and married someone else, and he went on and married someone else. So now father-in-law even started crying. It's like, why are we here? Why are we doing DNA tests? Because this is my child. This boy, this is my child. But because I'm like, no, let's do. They do DNA tests. They take my blood. They take father-in-law's blood. They take mother-in-law's blood. And they're like, you must wait for results. Each person will get results individually. Okay, fine. Then father-in-law reaches out to me, says, listen, I have no bad blood with you. I've got no reason to hate you, which is true. And he's like, listen, when you got married to my son, number one, I never had the privilege to raise your husband. I never had the privilege to raise Utepo because of issues he had with mother-in-law. So he's like, please do not shut me out. Allow me to raise Umkanyisi. And I was like, grand. So for the past 16 years, because my son is 16 now, father-in-law has been in the picture. Father-in-law, my son would sleep at his house with his other siblings. Like, father-in-law has been a present grandfather, present with the capital letters with his wife. The father-in-law and his wife, which are the grandparents to my son, have been present in my son's life 100%, right? To a point of when my son turned 2, 3 years old, father-in-law tried to reach out to the biological mother of my late to say, the child visits me, why don't you come? And biological mother apparently came once, and then that was the end of it. Then father-in-law tried going to the house to drop off the child, They just they didn't have it. They didn't want any relationship with this child because this child is birthed by Usihle Sibisi, and we hate Usihle Sibisi. And Usihle Sibisi, we hate her because she unalived our son, according to mother-in-law. Father-in-law says, okay, fine, sharp zinto. If that's the case, I will raise my son Nosihle. So 16 years later, I'm not reaching 16. 2021, I think my son was 10. So father-in-law and I have a good relationship with his wife. Like my father-in-law would take the boy, mabaye venda bonke, because my son's vendor. Mabaye venda bonke. And umkhulu uthi me, I did not get the chance to raise my own son, so do not deprive me of the opportunity to raise my grandchild. This is what umkhulu says. So, yeah, like, so we have a grand relationship with him, right? Through the good, the bad, the ugly, our relationship is on point. Then Kulu gets sick, like everything just happens. But anyways, 2021, I get a call from Kulu saying, hey, Sihle, rumor has it that Mama Gatepo is biological mother to my son's dad. Mama Gatepo wants to go and reopen Tepo's grave. And I'm like, why? He's like, because she wants to bury her mother on top of Tepo. I'm like, yeah? Mkulu's like, Sihle, you have power to stop this. Mkulu, what do you think? Mkulu's like, you don't do that. You don't reopen a grave for no reason. And it's never been done where a man, Nangu Tepo was married and Tepo has a son. Then the mother-in-law who hates me and hates my son wants to open the grave and bury her mother over my husband. I'm like, Mkulu, what must I do? Mkulu's like, Sihle, you are the owner of the grave. All I'm saying is I don't want this to happen. What do? Contact the lawyers. This is what Mkulu's saying. This is what's happening. Lawyers again. They say, you know what? For the sake of peace, they write a letter. It has come to our attention that you want to go and open the grave of Tepo at West Park Cemetery. This is illegal. Please don't attempt to. Right? Don't attempt to. They're telling her before she did it, because before I went to the lawyers, I went to West Park. I saw it's not opened, and I told the lawyers. Then that day, I remember I was accompanied by, because obviously it's a letter from the lawyers, and at that time the sheriff had closed. Then I went. I was accompanied by the police, I think the Midlands, and then we drove to the house, and I gave her the letter in the presence of the police. And the police told her to say, "Naingwati, please do not open the grave." I went home. I gave him, okay. Then I went past Mkulu's house, and I was like, okay, sharp, it's done. 2 days later, after giving her the letter, like something within me just says, go to West Park. Hey, I went to West Park. When I got there, grave wide open. Grave wide open. The grave is wide open. This woman went there and opened up the grave of my husband, in spite of the fact that I had pre-warned her. I had given her that letter from the lawyers. If you don't believe me, please just watch this clip, because I did a video. I was live at the cemetery to show Abantu Ukuthi the grave is opened. Please watch this clip. Oh, they've closed the grave. God. And they just left the plug here. I guess Convimis just left it in there. Maybe chopeli separating yet yang in the deep. Oh, Jesus. So all these broken blocks,
Zonke lezi ey'phukile lezi, all these broken blocks is from my husband's tombstone. From my husband's tombstone, where they must account and tell us what happened. What happened? West Park, what happened?
So you see the grave was open. So from the grave, right, so the grave was opened, and then it was emotional. It was traumatic. Yo, it was traumatizing. I remember 702 called me. I spoke to 702. I spoke to newspapers. I'm like, how does West Park Cemetery allow this to happen? It was a big hoo-ha. We had to open a case with the police. Mkulu, father-in-law, was traumatized to say, who allowed this woman to open my son's grave? Who allowed this woman to open my son's grave? The grave, guys, I'm sure you've seen from the video how it was wide open. And I was there I had to fetch your father-in-law to say, come and see. Father-in-law was traumatized. I was traumatized. Like, how did it happen? I remember how this made my father-in-law so sick. He was so traumatized. I remember we had to go and tell my son that, hey, boy, your father's grave is opened. And the reason why we told him is because my son knows every year on the 1st of January, we would go to his father's grave, my dad's grave, and we would lay flowers, like put flowers, they clean the grave and put the flowers. So my son was not okay. That's where most of my son's therapy journey started. And then we had to open a police case about this. Police were involved. And finally, through all of this, the policeman, the investigating officer that was investigating this, says to me, hey, those people by Aksaba, those people are afraid of you. I'm like, why are they afraid of me? He's like, hey, that mother-in-law says she's afraid of you when now you unalived her son and she's afraid you'll unalive her. I'm like, oh, 10, 11 years later, like, really? She's still carrying the same narrative. Let her not use that narrative to want to cover the crime that she did. Long story short, Mkulu had interviews with Sowetan, with me and him. I'm sure you can see it on your screen, the Sowetan thing, there it is. And then from there, it was just a very emotional time for us as a family. This was in 2021. Life continues. My son is growing up. I'm raising my son and my daughter. Yo, guys, my son is 16 years old now. I'm jumping so many things. My son is 16 years old now, right? And he knows his grandfather. He knows the grandfather's wife as his grandmother, right? My son is 16. It's officially 17 years since his biological father passed on. A few days ago, you know, when I say there are people out there who have ghost accounts that follow your life and monitor your life, it's so true. Nasi, Strupop, there are people who monitor your life. A few days ago, now, my son has a Facebook account which I manage. And the reason is because my son used to model for certain things, right? So, and it says on that account, should you want to talk to him, email, it gives you my email address. So, a few days ago, I see my son has an inbox message. I opened this inbox message, guys. Umuntu uyalingwa emhlabeni. Hey, Jesus. I opened this inbox message. And this message says, good morning, Sihle. I sent you an email regarding Mkhanyisi. Are you hearing? I sent you an email regarding Mkhanyisi. I hope we can meet with him and discuss a way forward. Then she says her name, Tepo sister. Now, bring into context, the sister is bosoms with the mom. The sister and the mom are like this. So I'm thinking, what? Then I see the email and I'm like, what? Email is from both of them now. Then I sit there and I'm like, what do I do now, guys? 16 years later. I had to give you context so you understand. 16 years later, these people have done anything and everything to want to paint me in the mud, and yay, Mamela, they've done anything and everything. They rejected my son while he was still in my womb. They rejected my son to a point where he was subjected to DNA tests. They rejected my son to a point where they were not present in his life. They rejected my son to a point where they went and reopened his father's grave. Now, I then get an email. They don't want to see Sihle, they want to see Mkhanyis. They want to have a way forward with my son. Hey! It's a bioscope, it's a movie. Guys, here's the message. I'm sure they're going to play it on screen for you. I mean, not play, but they'll just put it on screen now that you see the message. I've covered the names just for whatever. But why I was saying people are using ghost accounts is because this very sister is calling herself Whitney Houston or whatever that she's calling herself, Mariah Carey or whatever that she's calling herself, meaning they've always had ghost accounts following me, following my life. Eh? So after I get this message and this email, what do? I phone Umkulu. I phone Tepo's dad. I'm like, Umkulu, hello. And Mkulu's like, hello, my daughter. I'm like, Mkulu, I got a message and an email from the mother and the sister. They say they want Mkulu. Mkulu immediately cut me off. He said, listen, those people, if they want anything to do, he says, those people, if they want anything to do with my son, I'm saying no. This is what Mkulu said. I said, Mkulu, but they are his blood. He said, hey, those people, where were they all this time? I said, Mkulu. And Mkulu said, you know what? Tell them if they want my son, they must phone me. I said, okay, Mkulu. I then phoned my Babu Mngani, my dad's younger brother, called Siselengai. I'm like, Babu Mngani, this is what's happening. Babu Mngani is like, what? I'm like, yes. He's like, hey, Mahlase, uthini Mkulu? So I tell him what Mkulu says. And he's like, okay, I'll get back to you. Then I phoned my aunt who was there with me when they chased me away at Dobsonville, when they said, Hamba, Hamba, when I was pregnant. And my aunt listens to me and she's like, yo, sis. I'm like, yo, auntie, Bavu say, like they've awoken everything, the pain and everything, but I can't even cry. I'm numb and I'm at a point of, is this really happening? And my aunt says to me, oh, but you know, we are forgiving. You need to forgive. Hey! Hey! I said, excuse me. She says, you need to have the heart of God. You need to forgive these people. You're not forgiving for yourself, but for your boy. I said, listen. All the people that have said or hurt me or done me wrong, I have learned to accept apologies from them that I may never receive. And that means I've forgiven them. But forgiving them means I don't need them in my life. I don't need anything that will make me indirect. And my aunt is like, no, but you can't keep the boy away from his family, bloody blue. I'm like, yo. Do you understand that my son is the only person that I'm left with? Do you understand? I lost a husband, I lost a daughter. Now I'm left with my son. He's my life. So, no, girl. She's like, sister, you need to forgive. I'm like, okay, I'm angry. You're not saying the things I want to hear. Bye. Boom. Then I phoned my cousin. Hi, cuz. This and this. And she says the same thing. Oh, Sihle, you need to forgive. I'm like, yo, how many times does I say that I have forgiven, but hey, akumandanga. So I'm like, these two. So I even said to her, I don't want to talk to you again. She says, no, but tell the boy and hear what he says. I'm like, like, just give him a chance for him. I'm like, for the who, for the what, for the how much, for the hey. Then I said, bye, drop the phone. And I sat there, I'm like, okay. Mkulu says, no, but if they insist, they must go through him. Babu Mngane says, hey, we're going to follow Mkulu's lead. these two, auntie and cousin, are saying, forgiveness. Sihle, you need to forgive and allow the child to his people. So, as a mother that I am, my son comes back from school as hot, as handsome as he is. And I'm like, son. He looks at me, he's like, what? I'm like, we need to talk. He's like, you look serious. I'm like, yeah, we need to talk. He's like, what? No, my son is handsome, guys. I'm sorry. Like, look at him. Like, look at this. Look, Mamela, look at this. Look at this. My oven bakes well, but he does look like his dad. So it means even my choices. Anyways, so I'm like, son. He's like, yes, mom. I'm like, He's like, ma, you scaring me. What's up? And I'm like, okay, can you see? So your dad's. I first give him my phone. I'm like, read this. He reads. He's like, who's this? Who's this Whitney Houston? I'm like, well, that's your dad's sister. He's like, my dad's sister. I'm like, yo, that's the biological sister. He's like, okay. That's how my son speaks. Like, okay. And I'm like, they want to meet with you for way forward. It's like, who's they? I'm like, her and her mother and her people. He's like, why? I'm like, I don't know. They didn't say why. And my son looks at me, he's like, nah, I'm busy. I've got school, I've got exams, I've got everything. Sorry, he's like, I'm busy, I've got school, I've got exams and everything. I'm like, no, I need to tell you because I don't want them tomorrow for them to say, I never told you, I hid it from you. They want to meet with you. And he's like, wait, my grandfather, I know him and he stays with his wife who's my grandmother. I'm like, yes. He's like, so who's this one? Yo, I had to start afresh. This one is the biological mother of your father. They never married with the grandfather. Grandfather married someone else, and the biological mother married someone else who died. She's a widow also. And MK's like, so how come I've never seen them all my life? I'm like, son, what do you know? What has your grandfather ever told you? He says, wait, are these the people that opened up my dad's grave? I'm like, yes. He's like, are these the people that were telling everybody that you killed my dad? I'm like, yes. He's like, nah. They must first explain to me why they opened my dad's grave. And I'm like, okay, so do you want to meet them? He's like, mom, I've got exams, I've got basketball, I'm busy. And I'm like, so what do I say to them and your grandfather? He says, don't respond to them. Tell my grandfather he must protect me. I said, what do you mean? He's like, anyone who wants me, they must go through my grandfather. So I then said to him, okay, boy, I respect that. Then he says to me, how do you feel? So no, me, I'm fine, boy. Like, there's nothing wrong. And I said to him, have I ever said anything to you about these people? He's like, no, you haven't. You always just cry. The only person that told me the truth is my grandfather. I'm like, okay. So bottom line is I'm sharing this because in life, you do things to people and you forget to think for the long term. You do things to deliberately hurt people now because you are hurt now, forgetting that you will need these people in the future. When they were saying I killed their son, when they were chasing me away, when they were reopening my husband's grave, when they were doing everything that you want them to, that they were doing that was horrible towards me, to me at that time, it was okay for them. Now that they have awakened and they're like, oh snap, we have a child there. What must happen now? One thing about me, I will not keep their son away from them. But definitely I will make sure that it is properly structured. I will definitely make sure that the grandfather is the one that runs the process, because Umkhulu, guys, remember Umkhulu has been raising this son with me for the past 16 years. And you saw Umkhulu in the video. He was with me at West Park when they opened the grave. So I can't now make decisions without him. When my son got circumcised, Mkhulu had to take over that whole thing because they had to follow certain vendor cultures. Because my son is Mkulu's son. Are you understanding? And remember, Mkulu never had the privilege and the honor to raise his own child. So I cannot say he can't raise his grandchild. So maybe you'll ask, Sihle, what are you saying? I am saying I will never, one, influence my son the wrong way. Two, I will never force my son anything. And I will never be the stumbling block in between them and my son, but they have to go through Umkulu. And definitely they will not see him alone. What? Definitely if that day comes and they all sit and they have a meeting, whatever that they have, I am the mother, my son is still a minor. And number two, Umkulu must be there and other people must be there. So Umkulu's like, hey, labantu sihle bangitelelile, they must fune bahlawule ukuthi bavule ituna. Meaning he says they owe him, they need to cleanse him because bavule ituna. So Umkulu's like, bahlawule igama lakho sihle, bahlawule umntwana. He's like, they must cleanse me, cleanse my son for rejecting him. And many people will probably say, why are you talking about this on social media? Your son will see it. Mtakatedi, my son has seen and heard it all. My son has seen and heard it all. He's my firstborn. He's been there with me through the good, the bad, the ugly. When I talk and I do my live videos, my son experiences and sees what is happening. I would rather my son hears it from his mother directly than you people go and tell him things that are diluted and you've added spice and cinnamon and whatever into it and fed him with it. Because people out there are cruel. You will want to one day say to my son, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you find I have not told my son 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then it becomes an issue of, my mom never told me. Maybe it's not that 100% true. Basically, if you're watching me now as I vent, you've listened to the, what is this? Yinile, backstory. And you're listening to me as I vent. Maybe you're also sitting at home and you have such a challenge. And maybe you're saying, hey, I have forgiven. Me, personally, I have forgiven. I personally have learned to accept apologies that I may never receive, because even if a meeting happens and they see my son, they might never apologize to me. But I have learned to accept apologies that I may never receive for my mental health. I have forgiven for my sake. Hey! I don't know what to say. So today I was like, I just need to vent. And I need to share this experience and say, whoever thought that this day would come when they finally remember and realize that, hey, uyakhanyisa ngempela. Whoever thought that this day would come? I never thought. I never ever thought. That is why I sit here and I say to myself, because one thing my aunt said to me on the phone yesterday, she said to me, you know, because my son is a boy mom, and my cousin that I spoke to is also raising a boy child. And when I spoke to both of them, she said, you know, we are all raising boys. And my aunt said to me, I don't know what it is that when a man dies, and if he was married, mothers-in-laws are quick to say the daughter-in-law is the one that unalived their children. She says, I pray and hope that we will not become those mother-in-laws in the future. She says, I pray and hope that we will not inflict that pain that our mothers-in-laws inflicted on us. It's true. You're raising a boy child out there, and maybe you've been through the worst because of your mother-in-law or your sister-in-law. Hey, mtakatedi. Teach yourself that you do not want to do what they did to you. Because, I mean, my son will grow up. He's going to marry somebody. I will not. Hey, guys, I will not be that which my mother-in-law was to me, to my son's person. And if you ever see or hear that I'm doing that, you must judge me. You must judge me and say, but we saw your YouTube thing on this day and now you're doing this. We learn every single day, every single day. Let's change the narrative that not with our children, not with us, the generation that used to pull down and bring down the wives of their children because they have issues amongst themselves. Let us not be those people. But I must tell you, I am looking forward to one day. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow or next month or next week or next year or how many years, but I'm looking forward to the day when that round table finally happens and hear what they have to say. Mina, I don't know, like I'm just, hey, bathi nyalunyele, hey, Jesu Maria ma, ngeke. I'm looking forward to it, and I have no malice towards them. And it's so funny when I called my late husband's friends, and I'm like, hey, na yinu ing sugela. They were all like, what? They were like, hey, keep that boy away from them. No, not after everything they put you through. These are my husband's friends. I spoke to about 6, 7, 8 of them. They all had the same voice, like, no ways. No ways. So will I listen to them? People are now shocked that this day has come, and people are now, hey, protect the boy. And definitely, we protect the boy. We definitely protect the boy. And how do we protect the boy? You must go through the grandfather, phone the grandfather and say, I would like to see the boy. Yes, phone the grandfather and then let the families decide with what's happening. Mina, definitely I will have to be there because he's my child. And I will keep quiet and listen and I will not say nothing. Because at the end of the day, if my son says, okay, I've heard you, and mom, I want to get to know these people. At the end of the day, they are his blood. I cannot say to him, no, you can't, you have to stay away from these people. You can't get to know them. These people are, no, I can't do that. Because at the end of the day, they are his blood. So if he decides, mommy, I'd like to get to know them, I must be like, okay, sharp. Understand? But obviously that will happen in God's perfect timing. Maybe you're also sitting at home and you have issues like this where you're thinking, yo, monster-in-law or whatever the ish, or you're going through a situation where your kids have been rejected, you've been rejected, whatever the ish is. I will gladly say to you, time does heal. Time does heal because 17 years later, I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, no, my psychiatrist or my therapist is the best because the day she said to me, let go, learn to accept apologies you may never receive. That's when I was liberated and I was healed in my mind, heart, and soul. And that is why I'm not even, I have no emotions towards it. This journey, it will be run by the grandfather who is my father, who is the father to my late husband, who is the grandfather to the son. He will run this journey. Mina, I was just the bridge and the passage that God used to bring this boy to earth. I know this episode was something crazy, but this is Diary of a Grieving Mother. And these are just, I think I'll have more of these vent sessions when some things happen to me that are like, and it's all still part of grief. I will have these sessions so that even the next guest who comes to sit and listen can say, yo. But those with ears, I hope you listen. Listen. From what I've just spoken about, pick and choose. Learn what to do, learn what not to do, and make sure that you become a better person in all you do. But as for me, I have forgiven them all. You know that song, ne? I've forgiven. And there's no way I will keep my light, my mkanyisi, my boy away from his family. But right processes must happen. Because remember, you do things, you plant. When the consequences of it happen, now they must go through Mkhulu. They can't just come to me only because they disrespected all of us. I am Sihle Sibisi, and I hope you listened. If you have advices for me, please feel free to put your thoughts down. If you have a story to share, please definitely reach out to us and tell us you want to share a story. And I always forget to say this. Please subscribe to the channel. I am Sihle Sibisi, and this is Diary of a Grieving Mother.